Welcome to the Mind of Reese podcast. I'm your host, Reese Hilburn, tattoo artist, tattoo shop owner, and spiritual tattoo business coach. Basically, your all-around tattoopreneur. Here to bring you all things tattoo business, marketing, mindset, manifestation, and spirituality. This podcast is meant to help you expand your mind and up-level your tattoo business. I am so excited that you are here. Welcome to another episode of The Mind of Reese. I have been getting such really good and positive feedback on these podcast episodes, and so I'm hoping that you're loving them. So if you are, please go ahead and share them with the world so that more people can feel the healing vibe of the creative soul, the creative mind, the tattoopreneur, the business owner, the solopreneur that you are, and so that we can all come into this new paradigm, this new earth vibration on how we run our creative businesses, our tattoo businesses, or whatever creativity that sets your soul on fire. Please share on Instagram, anywhere you can. If you're watching this on Patreon, you can watch me actually doing the podcast, or if you're on Spotify, Apple, whatever it is, please just go ahead and like it so that I can bring you more of this lovely goodness. And so let's get right into it. So recently, I have been going through some major shifts and major changes in my personal life. And if you know me, you will understand that anything having to go, like the triggers and the things that come up for us that feel like we are out of control of the situation or out of control of like the circumstance, you will know me well enough to know that anything within your life, the triggers, the wounds, the shadows, that healing in those aspects of your area actually interconnect and are coinciding with all the other areas in your life. So like, let's say something in your, family life is something's being brought up in that, and you be aware of it, you take notice of it, you begin the journey to healing those wounds and why those things trigger you from your mom or your dad, whatever it might be. And then as you heal those wounds, they really interconnect into your financial life, to your business life, to your relationships with your partner, your kids. Then it goes, it goes all the way down to like your spirituality and how that heals. And so healing in general is your business. This is like my motto, my mantra. Healing is your business. So if there are moments in your life where you have to take a moment, take a time, take a pause, get aware, know that it is directly affecting your business, because your business is a direct reflection of who you are and your perspective on life and how you choose to show up. And so in any aspect of your life, because when we are being in integrity and authentic with who we are trying to show up obviously in that way in every aspect of our lives. And so this is how we show up online. This is how we show up in front of our family. This is how we show up in front of our clients. This is how we show up in front of our artists if you own a tattoo shop, that kind of thing. So the one biggest takeaway is that your healing journey is your business. It directly affects every part of your life. So to heal one aspect is to heal other aspects, and it directly and positively affects other parts of your life. So for me, what's happening is that I'm going through a bit of a personal change, and I have been single for a really long time, and I'm allowing a new person into my space because we connect very well. And although it's still in the beginning stages, there are triggers that are coming up for me in relationships, that old relationship triggers, old relationship thought patterns that have me feeling small, that have me feeling a little insecure, that have me feeling really just, not in my highest creative self. When I am by myself, I'm like, I'm a boss bitch. But the thing is that when you get asked what's more important, the destination or the journey, and really to me, it's the company. It's the people you're surrounded by, because those are the people that are direct mirror images of who you are. And the things you love about other people that are in your life are the things you love about yourself. The things that you are annoyed with about those other people, those are things you are annoyed of with yourself. And so they're direct mirrors for you. And this is the universe putting these people in your path so that you can have the opportunity to feel through the feelings, go through the triggers, and that kind of thing. And so what's happening for me in this situation is that a lot of triggers and a lot of trauma, a lot of past abandonment wounds are really coming up. And then there's this hyper independence from me that's like, nope, I will leave first before I get left. And so that's just my defense mechanism, my ego talking, my inner child having a temper tantrum, being like, I cannot deal with these really, really intense feelings. And so what do I do is I say, I'm really independent, I'm better off alone, and then I leave instead of moving through what I need to move through, because it will make me a better leader, coach, tattoo artist, person, a partner for my future, or for this person if this person is my future. And so it really is so interesting that now that I have mantraed my way into the fullest, truest belief that, healing is your business, I know for a fact that I need to move through these feelings in order to be the best coach, the best mentor, the best tattoo artist that I can be. Because this will only open me up to touching the next expanded version of me who is more creative, who is more innovative, who is more open to receiving the abundance that this fucking planet, this universe has to offer me, that wants to give to me. This is the reason why we have these experiences, these circumstances that we're put in, is to either move through them or to back away from them. And neither is a wrong answer. There is no wrong or right. The universe just offers it to you because it hears you saying, I want this. I want to become this. I want abundance. I want wealth. I want this, and I want to be a better artist. I want this. And these triggers, these things that come up in your life are the opportunities that are like from the universe. They're saying, well, prove it. Here you go. Here's an opportunity to grow. And with internal growth comes external gains. External being the physical manifestations of money, things, better artistry, more creativity. Because the moment that we allow ourselves to be open to the opportunities, we are able to bring them into us. But we have to create space for that. So in order to create space for that, we need to heal the wounds within us. We need to heal the triggers within us. We need to heal the limiting beliefs within us. And so what's happening, for me personally, is that these things are coming up for me where I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so I'm having these intense feelings and I'm not really sure how to move through them. So I'm like, okay, how do I redirect my thoughts? How do I disrupt them so I'm not going down a route of like making meaning to all of the things? I'm making meaning to every little thing that he does, every little step that he takes, and it's triggering me a lot. And I'm just like, okay, what is happening? So normally whenever things like this happen and I get really, really intense feelings, I go into meditation or I talk to my therapist, either one. But mostly it's like go into meditation because I am trying to cultivate my own healing practices within myself so that I can do it on my own, but also seek out abundant support such as therapy, energy healers, things like that. Because in order for me to want to spend the money to seek that support, I needed to understand that by healing myself is a part of my business. I never really spent much money outside of my business for personal anything. Like self-care, that was not a thing in my mind. Like self-care was like making sure I just got nice lotion for my face so that I didn't look old, because that again was like part of my business. Like these were the thoughts in my mind. I never really thought about anything internally being a business expense, but it is. I actually get to write it off. Ask your accountant. You can write off all this shit. You can write off your therapy. You can write off your chiropractic. You can write off your massages. You can write off your energy healings. You can write off your fucking psychic. Like, it doesn't matter. You can write these things off and say that they are a part of your business, because what you're doing is you're healing yourself in order for you to be in order for you to show up better. And that is a part of your business. This is how I tell my accountants and my bookkeepers, and they're like, wow, that's a really fucking good reason. I don't know if the IRS is going to be okay with that, but the IRS hasn't said anything yet, so they're good with it for me. My CPA is like, yeah, this sounds, you need that shit. So it's like, when we think about that aspect of wanting to control a circumstance, wanting to control an outcome. And so what we do is, when we try to control something, what does our brain do? It starts to create meaning around the thing. It starts to create meaning. Oh, okay. By him doing this means this. So what is our next move? What do we need to do? What do we need to gear ourselves up for? Right? Like, what's the outcome what I need to be expecting, so that I can get ready for that outcome. And normally, when it comes to our brains, when it comes to the science of our brain, what happens is that our brains are wired for survival. Our brains are not wired for success. It's not wired to be successful. It's not like, oh, okay, let's think of the best possible outcome. It's like, no. Let's think of the worst possible outcome so that we can protect ourselves, defend ourselves, and take action in a direction that we don't have to go through that hard feeling. Because nobody wants to go through that. That's scary. That's a known. I don't want to deal with that. So that's what our brain does. And that's okay. That's a survival mechanism. That's a thing. It's meant to do that since the dawn of time. And so when our brain does that, we have the opportunity in that moment to disrupt the thought pattern. And it is my soul's mission to heal these things within me so that I can show up better. So I can show up as the expanded version of me who has it all. So what we do in this, when we disrupt the thought, what we tend to do is we're like, okay, I need to disrupt this thought. I need to prepare myself. I need to basically just understand what's happening. We need to disrupt it, because all we're trying to do when we try to quote unquote control the outcome, control what's to happen, we're trying to create the experience that we're going to have. We're trying to fill the gap between point A and point B. So this is what he's doing. This is it's like we're mentally trying to prep ourselves for what's to come, the journey between A and B. I need to prepare myself for what's going to happen in between that. So I'm going to make it up. So that's what your brain does. It makes it all up. It's the survival mechanism within your brain. It's just trying to protect you, which is, that's what it's there for, right? But the thing is that you don't need to prep yourself for something you've created within your own mind. So what we do is we're just like, I'm creating meaning to the thing he's just done. So now I'm going to X, Y, and Z. Oh, well, this means this. This means that he doesn't actually really like me, and he's like backing away, so that I got to prepare myself for him leaving. And so instead, I'm going to leave first, because that's my abandonment wounds and issues coming up in me. So this is where we're creating the negative outcome or less than wanted outcome within our lives. But when we think about it, we don't actually know what's going to happen, right? We don't know the future. We don't know shit. So why not, instead of creating more anxiety, more disruption to our nervous system, this nervousness, this stress, and start to operate from that point of view? Why not just actually allow yourself not to fill in the blank? And if you are going to fill in the blank with what you think the outcome is going to be, why not create something more positive? because we don't actually know how things are going to unfold, right? So when you think about this, like in your business, we're like, oh, this is going to be hard, grueling, and painful. I don't want to set up the discipline to do all these things. So instead, I'm going to back away and think that it's not going to work and then prepare myself for it not working and then basically prove myself right. Because you only perpetuate what you focus on. So if you're going to focus that it's not going to work, if I'm going to focus that like this relationship is not going to work, I am going to manifest that. I am going to literally create that for me. Have you ever done that in your life where you're just like, oh my God, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And it doesn't work. And you're like, oh, see. And then what you're doing is you're just like, yeah, like your ego is like, yeah, see, it didn't work. See, you failed. See? So you're putting more trust in the fact that what it is you're manifesting, the thing you don't want, and it continues to perpetuate in your life. You're just like, oh, I'm creating trust in the fact that I know that I will fail. And instead and that's what gets us from not doing the work or not following our dreams or making excuses for the reasons why you can't do something, you don't have time, whatever it is. And so it's always going to work out the way you focus it's going to work out. It's okay to have discernment. I'm not saying don't have discernment. I'm not saying that like it's not good to not think of the negative. Like don't think of the negative. I'm going to perpetuate the negative. It's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. If you could just think of something and it just happens and fuck, we'd be eating so much shit. You know what I mean? Like if I could think of dragons and all of a sudden there's a dragon blowing fire I'd be dead. You know what I mean? Like these thoughts go through my head. Like I have crazy thoughts like this. So it's not like that. What it is that to have discernment is to like question. Okay, well, I'm questioning what could happen. Do I want this to happen? No. What would I like to happen instead? That's discernment. That is being open to the possibilities. However, you are not hoarding the possibility of it not working out and only thinking and focusing of that because you don't actually believe that a positive or more favorable outcome is possible for you. That's where the trigger is. That's where the limiting belief is. That's where you stop yourself from reaching that next level, from literally creating the meaning around something that is not positive and not favorable, focusing on that and then perpetuating that. So having discernment and focusing on negative or unfavorable outcomes is totally different. You know what I mean? Like they're two different things. Because there's two ways you got to really understand this. It's like, okay, first off, like I'm creating meaning for this thing. Yes, could it potentially be hard? Hell yeah. Could it be complicated? Hell yeah. But if I'm open to understanding that the outcome that I do want is a potential, it could be just around the corner. Could it actually be easy? Yeah. Could he actually, like, the things that are happening be his way of being shy and just like not understanding, we don't understand each other? Yeah. Totally. It could totally be that way. It could totally be like me, my mind creating all these meanings by the things that he's doing. And it's just like, oh, he just didn't want to overstep a boundary, like, and so, we don't find that, we don't have that, if we don't find the clarity in that, like if we don't actually see like a more favorable outcome. Now, in this particular situation, what I end up doing to alleviate what meanings I'm making and what outcomes are happening. And I was like, you know what? Instead of creating all of these stories, let me disrupt the thought pattern. Let me put myself out there. Let me give my little inner child a voice instead of tamping her down and being like, no, you shouldn't feel this way. You know what? We're out of here. Don't feel this way. We're done. I don't like feeling this way. We're done. And instead of, so when you tamp down those feelings, when you tamp down that trigger within you, what you're doing is you're telling your psyches, and to me, it's my inner child. You're telling that part of you that you are not allowed to feel that way. It is. You are not safe in your own space, in our space, to feel that way. You're not allowed to feel it. So you know what? It's going to be tamped down. We're going to make the move. We're going to allow ego to take the driver's seat, and we're going to make the move to fucking fight, flight, or freeze, and we're going to flight. Instead, what you do is you allow the feelings to come through. You're okay with the fact that, like, yeah, I feel a certain fucking way. I'm not going to make meaning. And if I am going to make meaning, what's the more favorable outcome? Okay, the favorable outcome is that, like, the thing that happened was just a misunderstanding, and that he actually is really in it to win it and wants to spend time with me, wants to be with me, and that kind of thing. And so, and this goes for every aspect of your life. So as I'm like, okay, instead of me tamping down this voice, telling myself I'm not allowed to have this feeling, when I'm telling myself it's like, I'm unworthy of these feelings, I shouldn't have them, because somewhere in my childhood someone told me that I wasn't allowed to feel those things, that I was being a crazy girl, or that I was just, like not giving her, like acting like a crazy bitch or something, or whatever, or I'm allowing things to get in my head. Get over it. Don't think those things. You have your friends that say these things that you have your other friends that are like, well, you're a boss ass bitch. You should be he should know better. And you're like, right, you can't know anything if there's no communication there. So there is this meaning I'm creating. So let's stop the meaning. We disrupt the thought pattern, and let me just get some clarity here. Let me just think of the favorable outcome first. I'm like, okay, what do I really want to happen? Instead of me just running away from the feeling, tamping it down, running away, not wanting to feel failure, abandonment, whatever it might be, rejection, because we feel all these similar things in all aspects of our life. That's why, like, I knew that I needed to move through this in order for me to grow my business. Isn't that fucking crazy? How it's like, but I truly believe that if I heal this part of myself, I'm healing other aspects of rejection and abandonment. Like the parts where I know, like, there's sometimes I have these abandonment issues and my artists are going to leave me. I'm not going to lie. That happens sometimes. Have I moved through that a lot? Yes. But here is a deeper seated thing of a romantic situation that's happening. And I'm like, oh, that hasn't been healed. That is a new trigger. That is, I'm at a new level. I've healed certain aspects of my abandonment, rejection wounds, those kinds of wounds. However, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm feeling a deeper one because I'm moving in deeper into places that I want to go. I'm literally manifesting this person into my life, which I have. Through human design, I'm a manifesting generator. So I can manifest more than one thing at a time. I don't know if you guys are like really into the manifestation or anything like that. I personally, it's a word that's so kitschy and trendy these days, and it's really hard for me to talk about it in that way, like the word quote unquote manifestation. But I truly do, create opportunities into my life because I have the discipline, the drive, and I take all the spiritual actions, meaning the being, the stillness, the healing, the shadow wounds, in order to perpetuate more of what I want in my life. And so the moment I wrote in my journal what I wanted as a man, I was like, this is what I want. This is who I'm calling to me. Whenever this happens, it'll happen. Literally happened. And I did that with the last one and the last one. And each new one is because it's like, I'm learning more about myself. I'm healing so much about myself. And so when things don't work out, it was a beautiful experience. It was a beautiful love experience for any previous partners that I've had. But we've all grown and changed. And unfortunately, it just doesn't grow together. And so that's not the thing. And so now I'm in this moment where, I have really, put a little spell casting out there and just like wrote it all down on what it was that I wanted. And so this person, bing, bang, boogie, without apps, without anything, I was like, you know what, I'm done with the apps. I don't want to feel this anymore. If the person, I work so much, I rarely get out. And I love my job. Whenever I'm working, I'm out and about, but I'm doing kind of things or whatever. And so I just didn't know how this was going to happen, but I knew innately in my soul that it wasn't going to be happening through an app. So I stopped doing the apps and all that other stuff. And then this person steps into my life, and we had a very unique experience in our first like 3 or 4 months. And so it's just like, like this is what he's been brought in. So I know that like in this moment, I've done so much healing work. I've put so much trust and faith into myself and how I know that the universe has my back and I have my own back. That like when this is how I know, like these little triggers that are coming up, this is how I know that this is like he was put here, if only for this moment to heal this one particular thing, to help me heal this one particular thing, because now it's a deep rooted thing. Like all of the artists I called those guys in through me healing, through all the things, again, through the job, the family, the romantic relationships, the spirituality, the finances, all coincide together. This is a big reason why in a lot of my mentorship and a lot of my teachings, I teach money mindset, confidence mindset, success mindset, because of the reason that these particular mindsets, how we get there through healing, energy healing, shadows, inner child work, that kind of thing. These healing aspects that we get to attract more of the thing, because what is the meaning we are creating around the thing that we want so badly? What is the meaning around what we're creating if we don't get the thing that we want so badly? What is the meaning we're creating for the circumstance that we are in currently that will perpetuate us not to make moves toward the thing we want so badly? This is all down to meaning. This is all down to what you make something mean. The meaning that you've created is something, a belief within you, a limiting one or an expanded one, whatever you think. But when you think of the positive outcome of something, when you think of what could be instead of what it won't be, that's either limiting belief or an expanded belief within you. And we can change those beliefs through healing. That's why healing is your motherfucking business. Okay, so what do? I think of, instead of thinking like, nope, I'm leaving first, I can't do that. I know healing is my business, so what do? I end up allowing myself to give my little inner child a voice. And what does she want? She's like, look, all I want is a little bit more passion. The way that I receive love is through touch, passion, that kind of thing. If he isn't expressing that, it means he doesn't like me. So that's where the meaning went. So I was like, okay, all right, my young Padawan in there having a meltdown, a temper tantrum, and wanting to run away. How about I offer you the love and touch and passion that I can give you? And how about we don't make a meeting about that? And because of this one incident that happened, how about instead, since this is what you do want more of, we just ask a question. But then there's that like stop, like skirt, but now you're putting me in an uncomfortable position to making me feel like I might be a crazy lady, because we've been told a million times that by asking the question like, hey, or allowing someone in by being vulnerable, or by letting someone know like, hey, I'm feeling a little insecure about this, that makes someone roll their eyes at you. It's like, oh God, another fucking girl thing. And so I felt that vibe. I felt that stop there. And I was like, okay, this is fear. Again, just perpetuated fear. It not perpetuated, it's just fear within me because of a belief I've had, because of an experience I've had in the past that created the belief that I'm not allowed to be open, that I need to be a stronger girl, that I need to keep my mouth shut. I need to just let it go, forget about it, and let it go. But how about I don't do the same things I'm doing all the time and trying to get different results in relationships? And how about I do something different? And if he acts like how my little girl is so afraid of, because we've had that experience before with multiple partners, if he does end up acting like that, how much healing have we done already? How much do we know we are worth it? Just to know, just to have the clarity on, hey, where do you stand? Because this is where I'm at. This is what I want. I know what I want now. I'm going to stick to what I want because I know I deserve it. So now what am I telling myself? I'm like, oh, I'm worth it. And yeah, I might have moments of insecurity. I'm fucking human. And I am going to own the person that I am right fucking now and be okay with the person, because I know that I'm perfect as I am right now. Because as I heal, I will continue to be perfect in each and every moment. But I know that in my heart, my main goal is growth, because my growth perpetuates more growth in this world and helps others heal themselves as well, because it gives them an example. It shows them what could be. And by healing this aspect of me, by speaking up for what I want, by sticking up for myself, the little girl inside me, giving her a little voice, she's not going to act all crazy. She's going to be like, okay, I'm going to have this trust with you now because you've allowed me to speak. You've allowed me to say my piece. Now I'm not going to have a temper tantrum and make you react in a certain way in a situation where you don't want to react like that. This helps me in my business. How does this help me in my business? When one of my artists act out triggers me in a certain way, and instead of reacting in a bitchy little teenager butthole way, which is what we do sometimes, is because we're trying to protect ourselves. Or the little girl inside of us, it's like we haven't given her a voice. So what does she do? She reacts. She's like, well, fuck. This is the only way I know how to react because I've experienced this before. I don't fucking like it. It makes me mad. So I'm going to throw a temper tantrum. But now that I've given her a voice and I've allowed her to speak, and I didn't tamp down her feelings, I didn't invalidate her feelings, because that's what happens. We get invalidated through experiences, and then we are taught to invalidate our own feelings. And when we invalidate our own feelings, we do not give our inner psyches a voice. And when we don't do that, we have reactive situations. We are reactive. We get pissed off, we say shit we don't mean, we do all the things, and we wonder why we perpetuate terrible relationships, whether that be in your family, romantic, artists, you're in your business, why people keep leaving you if you own a shop, why it's like all of these things. This is what you perpetuate. Perpetuate more craziness. And then that's why we're like, why am I going crazy? So don't invalidate your own feelings because of a circumstance. This is the healing work. So me doing this healing work is allowing me to open up space, because I know in the future it might potentially happen somewhere else. I don't want it to happen, but I know that this will help me be a better mentor, leader, coach, and tattoo artist and all the things. Because I'm allowing myself to take a pause, to get aware, to be intentional, to allow my feelings to be felt, to allow them to flow. So what do I do? I was like, I am worth it. I'm worthy. I have healed a lot of my worthiness. This is the worthiness again, you guys. Worthiness comes in so many different shapes and forms, like where it's like a morph thing. Like, am I worthy of this? Am I worthy of that? Am I worthy of the tattoo dream? If I'm worthy of being the most amazing artist, am I worthy of impacting so many people with my artwork? Am I worthy of opening up the shop? Am I worthy of this money? Like, there are little things we make meanings to. We make meaning to so many things due to beliefs within us. And when we get into the nitty-gritty, to the uncomfortableness of feeling those feelings, we allow more space within us to create the possibilities, to make the wildest of our wildest dreams come true. After, I've done so much healing and worthiness healing, and I've done this, so quickly, you guys. Like, I started my really, really, really immense, intense healing journey last July. That's less than a year ago. And I've healed so much, and I've called in so many things in my life, so much money, so much time, freedom. I do so much work. I love creating content. I love creating tattoos. I love speaking, public speaking. I love educating. I love being a mentor. I love building shops. I love calling in artists. Like, I love it all, and I do it all. And I used to only be able to tattoo, but I've created the systems and structure and strategy within my business. Plus, I've healed the parts of me that felt like I couldn't do it all. So I've done so much of this healing. And now I'm entering into the unknown of a personal relationship. And instead of reacting the way I would normally react, running away, tamping down my feelings, I said no. I stopped it. I was aware. I said no. I deserve to heal through this. I deserve to be through this. And you know what? I've already gone through a lot of feelings and felt through a lot of my feelings already. So I'm brave enough. I'm going to have the courage to, if this ends up in rejection, then at least I know now, and I stuck up for myself, and I know that there's something better to come, because I truly believe that my outcome is always going to be for my best. So maybe not in this situation, it's going to be the best, but I know at the end of the day, it's going to work out. That is the point. It's understanding that no matter what happens, it's all going to end up in your highest good. It's always going to work out. So instead of thinking of the negative outcome, I'm going to think of a positive outcome. I'm going to say, you know what? I am the positive outcome first off, is that if he does end up being the person I think he is going to be moved by the fact that I'm so open, probably pretty stoked on the fact that we're already having like open conversation like this, and probably find it even a little endearing that I'm feeling a little insecure. And we will get closer, become closer, have a better understanding of where we stand in our relationship. And I will now know that I don't have to think that the worst is going to happen, which he's going to laugh at me and whatever. And what's the other positive outcome that I can make on the other side of that? Well, let's say he does. Yes, I will feel rejected, but at the end of the day, I know that just means that he's not meant for me. And that I am perfectly perfect right now in my insecurities, in the muck, in the thoughts, in the feeling of like, oh, am I enough? And in this moment, I choose to be enough, regardless of what his decision is on this. Right? So, what do? I got the courage and I just said, hey, I'm feeling a little insecure about this. And if I'm overthinking it, please just let me know. But I just feel like I need to be a little transparent on where I am and what I made meeting to this particular situation and where you stand. And immediately get a video response of him being like, oh my God. He's like, I can understand why you felt that way. Here's probably the reasons why. I felt like I felt like I was overstepping a boundary. And then he decided to be like, I like you a lot. And I do want to touch you, be with you, kiss you, all the things. Very plainly. And my little inner child went, whoop, whoop. She was like, that's all I wanted. Wow. You gave me a voice. You trusted that no matter what, the universe always has our back. I have this innate knowing and trust now because I just know that like it's going to work out for the best, regardless of how hard it is, regardless if he reacted in the way that maybe I've experienced before. But now I've come with the ammo, the ammunition, the resources within me that are like, but I've got this no matter what. And I've got me. And so I've allowed myself to have a voice. I've created more trust within me. Created more trust and not the societal conditionings of other people telling me how I should be feeling or how I should be acting. And decided to take matters into my own intuitive hands. And instead of throwing a temper tantrum and being like, he should just know how to be better and he shouldn't have done that because it made me feel this way and he should know that I felt that way when that happened. Like, no, I was open, I was vulnerable, I was honest about the insecurity aspect. And most people probably just think they're like, Reese is not insecure. No way. Oh, fucking course I am. Like, I get this all the time and it kind of blows my mind. They're like, no, Reese, you walk around so confident. Your head's always up high and whatever. And I'm like, the reason why my head's up high is because I'm looking at the sky. Like, you know, I'm trying to look up instead of look down. I'm trying to make sure that I'm in the moment. But at the end of the day, I have a lot of insecurities. I have body image issues. I have all these things in my mind of how things might fail or not work or whatever, but I just allow them to float through me and know that they're not me, that they're just the beliefs that are within me. And when they come up, that I can move through them and that I can change them and don't have to be that Reese that was a year ago, 6 months ago, 5 days ago, an hour ago. I don't have to be that girl if I don't want to be. And I choose growth because I know innately in my soul, my body and soul, my body, mind, and soul that this work is what's going to bring you bliss, peace, happiness, the wealth, the impact, the fucking freedom, community in your business, in your life that you've always wanted. So I got what I wanted in this moment. And because I decided to take a different path, because I decided to choose a different direction. And so it really, at the end of the day, just there's so much love in that. There's so much love in that. So the moral of the story is you guys, is that we need to stop trying to make so much meaning, and especially trying to prepare ourselves for how it might not work. And instead, maybe say, what if? Because when we make meaning to something, first, just be aware of the meaning you made for it, and then ask yourself, is that actually true? Is that actually going to happen? Do I know? I don't know. My circumstances are unique. They're, might not be different than everybody else, but they might be. They might be hard. Question everything. The moral of the story is to just question everything. There is no need to manufacture more fear, anxiety, worry, stress because you think something's going to happen. Let it happen. Let whatever happen. Because no matter what, you get to choose how you enter into those moments. You don't have to be stressed out, anxious, or whatever. I've gone through so many similar moments over my lifetime and moved through them in different ways, finding myself in such peaceful reactions when things happen, even to the smallest stuff like traffic or someone cutting me off. My immediate thought is not to get mad anymore. It used to be, gosh, you call me in my 20s, I'd be a fucking bitch. But now my immediate reaction is just oh, let me move out of the way. They got somewhere to go. If someone's tailgating me, I don't get all crazy. So you can change more of yourself. Those little things. So question everything. If there's a meaning you're making to something, ask if it's true, because if it's an outcome that you're not you don't want, ask if that is actually going to be true. Most of the time, the meanings that we're making something and the outcomes we think are going to come aren't actually the things that's going to happen. And how not we have a more empowering belief, a more empowering, better way of looking at it? What if it all worked out? What if deep down he loves you and he just doesn't know how to say it? What if you followed your tattoo dreams and you opened up that shop and you called in the artists you didn't know you were going to get? You're well, what if I open this shop and no artists come and I just have all these spaces and nobody wants to work for me? What if? Instead, what if you open up the shop and that's when you created more space to call in more artists, because now you've stepped into the role from not only as tattooers, but tattoo shop owner, tattoo mentor. What if you just needed to take that step in order to call in? It's what if? Those are the things. The experiences that happen, you guys, are the things that make you into the new iteration of you, the new expanded version of yourself. That's the point, because the more we can expand internally, the more we can expand externally in life and in business. Okay, so that's it for today's episode. I hope you loved a little insight in my own relationship stuff and triggers and things like that. And I, of course, the more that I get authentic and everything that happens in my life, there's always a lesson to be had in them. And there's always a way for me to like turn it around and understand that how this can really help my business. Because at the end of the day, my business is the most important thing to me. It's one of the most important. It's one of my biggest priorities. It always has been. But now I'm starting to open myself up to the other possibilities of what other things can be my priority. And by healing myself has allowed me that awareness and that spaciousness within me. So I love you guys. Let me know if you love this podcast episode. And I will see you in the next episode.